Well, hello and good evening, and welcome to another Role Players, everyone.
Good evening.
It is us. Hello.
We are so rested, so full of energy. No one's head hurts. We are ready for
There was
tonight.
definitely not any kind of
No one
social
was up late.
distance
Responsible.
party where we all got hungover. No.
Yeah.
There were no old
We're all
fashions.
peaking.
There are no
Wrong
old fashions were harmed in the
None
making
of
of.
that berry wine. There was just none of that.
Yeah.
None of
A
that.
dream.
Good old
No
clean.
coffee liqueur. No.
No, none of that.
Oh, the coffee liqueur.
Yeah, it was like shots of coffee liqueur.
That was a low moment.
That-
You guys had shots of coffee liqueur?
Shots of
It was
coffee
not
liqueur
needed.
Wow.
was simply unnecessary.
That-
I don't regret it. I stand by it.
Yeah, I
So-
see it
You
too.
did stand right by it. That's true.
I literally stood
literally.
right by others
Literally.
from a socially responsible distance, as
With
we
masks.
all
With masks.
with masks. Well, not for that express moment, but you
Yes.
get the idea.
Yeah.
So basically, yes, I think the cat is out of the bag, guys. They know that we got to see
cat-
each other and have
yeah.
fun.
Yes.
Rough in the
We
bag.
did. Surprise, surprise.
It
And
was
so
So
epic.
we have been very good and responsible, and
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen Maddie and Chad, and obviously Azar and Peter, but we haven't all come together as a group. And Gabriella's been out of town, so we got together as a
the
group
country,
last night for the first time since February. And because we were working on something special and secret.
wait a minute.
this-
Whoa,
this weekend.
special and secret. What are you even talking about?
Special and secret.
What are you even talking?
I'll tell you this.
Nothing.
There was some
Nothing.
filming happening this weekend.
What?
What are you talking about?
Oh, behave.
So
What?
Behave yourself.
stay tuned to see what we were up to.
What are you talking about?
Other
Oh
than
my
just having
God.
a great time and now being very tired today.
Speak for yourself. I'm a ball of energy.
Well, that's great because you're going to carry
Yeah.
the show
Special
tonight.
Pumpkin coffee
For
by
now.
Azar.
For now. And after that coffee wears off, we'll see. We will see.
Wait,
I just
more
pounded
coffee
another latte.
liqueur? Oh no.
No, actually, I opted for coffee and liquor, but not coffee
In a
liqueur.
CIA mug.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We don't mess around here.
It's
Little hot
intelligent
toddy.
coffee.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna rein us all back in and remind us that we're doing a show. So, greetings, adventurers. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Role Players, where we play
Yes.
the world's greatest role-playing game ever invented.
Ever.
The Dungeons and Dragons. I am
The
your Dungeon
Dungeons,
Master Judd.
the
These are my role players.
Hello.
Hello, and our very
Hi,
special
hi.
guest returned again. We're so excited to have him back on the show, Cicero Holmes.
It's sweeps month, guys. For all you old people, back when there was television, bring in a special guest.
That's right.
For the time, so that they could sell it to advertisers. So this group of episodes with me on it is going to be
Figure this
shot
out.
to the advertisers.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So that we can boost the role players.
The ratings.
That's
yeah.
right. So
Yes.
tonight
Right.
Boost,
on a very
like
special
vitamin
The Role
supplement.
Players.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm so
Or like
excited.
an anemic.
I'm so excited.
Like the role players is just gonna get like a really like bad 6-episode like spin-off starring just Cicero, like where he's kind of, like playing D&D but only with himself, like as a solo, and it just doesn't really work. And then like we have
It's
Like really bad laugh track.
A one-man show, one shot.
those are the TV tropes that we just have to be so careful to avoid.
It's so careful. We walk a
Just
fine
a
line here.
novel, though, right?
Some
Right,
of them
yeah.
worked.
Yeah.
Some of them worked. It just depended.
Frasier comes
Right?
to mind.
A great
Yeah, there's some
spinoff.
slam
There you
dunks.
go.
Yeah, there are
I'll
a couple.
never get over A Different World with Lisa Bonet. She was
That's
so
right.
freaking gorgeous.
my
That show was so cool.
And Marissa Tomei.
Yes. And then I don't know
that's
why it
right.
got canceled. I don't understand.
It didn't get
why.
canceled. I mean, it went 7 seasons.
Oh.
Did
It did. It had a good run.
Season?
It did okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I must have blacked out or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. You can.
I feel like I only saw 2.
Yeah, it's
Granted, I was
streaming.
very little. I probably wasn't allowed to watch it, and I was just like catching whatever I
Yeah,
could.
you missed a lot
I
of
wish
like.
you would have doubled down and been like, yes, canceled after 7 seasons. I wanted more.
Yeah, that's
wanted more.
bullshit.
I agree.
Bullshit. It had at least
Still looked
14 in it.
amazing. You could have had 30 years.
It's true.
Yeah.
All right, so this is good. Again, I'm reining you back in. Come on. Peter, you have some announcements
Yes.
for us tonight.
I did. Half of them are done. I wanted the pleasure of welcoming back Cicero,
No, that's my job.
my New York Yankees homie. See what I did there?
There you go.
That already happened. So let me do this. Let me thank our sponsors. First, Skull Splitter Dice. Thank you. There we go. Skull Splitter Dice. You know them. You use them. And if you're not using them, then let us do this for you. Go to Skull Splitter Dice and use the promo code TRP, role players, TRPSS15 for 15% off. And it's the SS Minnow. Okay, clarifying that. So TRP SS15, 15%
Why is
off.
it SS anyway? Like,
We've
why?
gone
No idea.
over this.
Yeah, we've done this.
I forgot.
I don't know if anybody researched what the SS actually stands for, but let's just move on.
And we're going on.
Yeah.
And now, so go get yourself some dice and just throw them on the table. Just do it. All right. Thrill Studio. Everybody knows Kickstarters. Everybody knows if you want a mini, you got to buy the Kickstarter, which is like $100 and something and all that stuff. Thrill Studios does something unique is they buy all that stuff. And if you want just that one mini you're looking for, then go to the website and buy just that one mini.
Yep.
Saves you a bunch.
Easy.
It's a neat concept and they're doing it right. And they'll even paint it for you if you'd like.
Whoa,
And-
hold the phone. I thought you just said they'll paint the mini for you.
Oh, they will.
Wow.
They will. You can just buy the mini and paint it yourself. Or if you want some pros to do it, they will gladly do it for you. Check out the website. Check out the minis. You're going to love them. And another promo code, TRP15 for 15% off at Thrill Studios. And last but not least, I'm 50. That's right. We at the Role Players are celebrating our Molly Shannon
Oh my
50th
God.
episode.
What? This
So
is it?
this is it. This is 50.
I honestly felt like
Dave.
I wish I felt like drinking right now.
So
I'll drink for you.
Oh,
thank you.
cheers,
Everybody,
Cicero.
yes, raise a pitcher
That
or a
is
glass.
sacrifice.
There you
50th
go.
episode. And very pleased to have Cicero
That's
here
our-
with our 50th.
Oh, yeah. Great. I'm glad.
And this episode's actually sponsored by Peter's huge chugging
Yes,
glass
which
of
I'm
water.
going to
So,
monitor my water drinking tonight, so my bladder.
So chat,
doesn't
remind Peter
explode.
to take it
Or
slow.
when Maddie goes to the bathroom, I'm going to the bathroom.
You should.
Yeah,
We all
you
just
can-
freeze in the
you can do
bathroom.
that.
Right.
Still
Yes.
best friends.
Yes.
Drink out of pitchers that
So,
size. Without bathroom breaks.
Back
So
to
thank
you.
you for that. Yeah, we have one other announcement. As we're rapidly approaching 600 followers here on Twitch, very exciting. Thank you all. We love you all. We're going to do another giveaway for next week to try to push us over the edge and get those last, I think, 39 to get us there.
39?
Yeah,
We can do
39.
that.
Right? I know.
do it
And
tonight.
if it happens tonight, we will give it away tonight. So if we get any big grades and you guys spread the word, we are giving away the Rime of the Frost Maiden on D&D Beyond, the digital assets. So you have
nice.
all of that for doing your campaigns yourself on D&D Beyond.
Yeah, there's
and
digital dice with it too.
yeah, it's a very sweet digital set. So, if people come in, spread the word. Otherwise, well, look at that. I mean, just boom.
Wow,
that's what we're
right
talking
on
about,
cue.
Joe. Well done, sir.
Look at that.
Ding,
We'll
ding, ding.
we'll see what happens, and if it'll be, maybe it'll be tonight, but it'll definitely be before next week. So, or by next week. So with that, I think we're ready to jump in. Oh, one last announcement. Come hang out with me on Saturdays as I paint minis so we can all chat and talk about D&D, talk about the world, and just chill and listen to some music. And this time, 80s, we're going to do 80s music on Saturday. So
All right.
80s paint off.
nice.
So come hang
I
out.
paint so far away.
Yeah, I'm going to convert every 80s song into a painting song. So don't miss out. All right. Otto. Otmar,
Paint so
the
far away.
third.
Sorry, I just-
Lead us in, my friend. Lead us into tonight's episode of The Role Players.
Well, let me tune up the old Lear. Here we go.
Be right back.
Let me tell you a story about a time that me and my friends found a new world. It started on a ship brought together by a storm. We we traveled through the rift to a new world beyond. We were thrown into shackles, we were hunted down by thieves, but we'll never let it stop us from saving Anacrally, for we are thee.
Coming back. All right. Okay, so
I love the picture of Judd with that mustache. So much. I need you to have one of those mustaches in real life for a small amount of time at least.
yeah,
Buddy,
we'll,
For a
in the
segment
search,
of our life.
the search for Toots McGee, he's wearing that.
oh yeah,
Not Toots
Yeah.
McGee.
Toots McGee. We'll see that one shot at some point, probably
Yeah,
in
when
the
we
new
all
year
gather back.
when we're back in person.
When the world comes back.
So, bringing us into tonight's game, and remembering what happened last time in Anacrally. Installed in the city of Azley, the magnificent city at the southern edge of the Eresun kingdom, you all teamed up with Rigel Neverbottom, a dwarf second in command of the city, to steal an artifact that the necromancers are there to receive. You had mere hours to secure 3 pieces that made up a very special key that unlocked a vault beneath the palace. A vault that held the skull of what was once the most powerful wizard in all of Anacrally. An object of incredible power that the kingdom was going to hand over to the necromancers the moment the steward of the city returns, and something of which Rigel was just not having. Managing to get the pieces, you ventured down into the dungeons. You saw these dark shapes at the edge of your vision fluttering about. Rigel told you they were Skaiths, and part of the protection, it seems, of this area down below. You saw massive statues of a dwarf and an elf, and Rigel gave you a bit of a history of how dwarves came to Anacrally originally. But finally, you made your way down into the vault itself. You saw majestic golden doors, tableaus depicting the construction of Azley. But Rigel bypassed those and moved to the far side where a forge, a dwarven forge, sat. And taking out a hammer, he struck the small retaining wall that held this bubbling lava. And you saw the lava drained into the floor as the retaining wall crumbled. And the forge slid up the wall, and another door appeared. And moving up, you inserted that key that you constructed, and you found the Vault of Souls. The darkness inside seemed to eat the light and made it very difficult to see, even for those of you with dark vision. Once you stepped onto the platform inside, however, dwarven ghosts appeared, livid and angry at this intrusion. After a mighty battle, you managed to best them, and after taking a few minutes, you found the chamber hidden in this platform, and you found the skull of Tanothiel. Otto offered very quickly to jump down and recover the skull, taking some
He's just
damage.
a nice guy.
He's
just a really nice guy.
I mean, he's a giver.
for you.
He's
That's how he
definitely
is.
he's a giver.
He's a giver.
He took some.
Something.
Yeah,
Something for
he's
sure.
definitely something.
It's a good way of putting it.
After you took some damage from the kind of the remnants of the ghosts that you defeated, they seemed to be swirling and maybe reforming into something. Otto took the skull, got out of there. You all exited the chamber as you saw this extremely large ghost starting to form and climb out of the floor. But once you exited and the room returned to normal and the forge reappeared, Otto said that he lost the skull in the run. And as you all were grumbling and Rigel turned to once more strike the wall with a hammer and go back into the vault, Otto vanished. And you realized, led by Rigel, that skull and Otto must be found, and you have mere moments before you probably run into the steward of Azley as he's making his way down to this point. So you all ran off to return to Rigel's office and hopefully avoiding him.
Well, and my goal was to try and, I don't know if I was able to do this exactly, but I had tried to sort of convince them that I dropped the skull into the lava.
Oh, yeah, I didn't hear that point, but I thought you said you lost it on the run inside the room.
Yeah.
But regardless, he very much convinced you that he lost it somewhere in the run. Actually, the lava wasn't there yet, Otto. So the lava drains away until you cross back over, and then it refills.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you would have had to just kind of lose it in the shuffle. But as Otto disappears and you all run off to make your way back to Rigel's office, Otto, you experience that extremely painful teleport unexpectedly, and you find yourself now in the cold night air hitting your face. You spin around trying to make sense of where you are, and you can see the massive statue of the elven soldier in the middle of Azley, and you can tell you're probably about a mile away from that point. And as a reminder, the palace that you were in is basically at the base of that statue. You guess, as you stand there, confused in this darkness, you see a figure, an immensely tall figure, step from the shadows. He steps out and he smells the air with relish. And he looks around, and towering twice your height, his kind of gray, ashen skin, bare-chested, wearing leather armor pants and horns off of his head, he strides up to you. This place feels different.
Yes, indeed. It is a starkly different place than where I am from. But, you know, it seems as though it is ripe for those who would seize power here.
Indeed. And he raises his hand and he slashes it down. He doesn't touch you, he just kind of does this motion in front of you. And as he does it, your chest, your clothes rip open, your armor rips open, and there's a deep gouge that forms, and your breath gets caught and the pain is immense, but as it passes down, it immediately heals itself, leaving the shock of the memory of the pain, but nothing else. Interesting.
You wish to test me, my lord?
I'm testing something. Let me see it.
I go and I reach for the skull, but before I pull it out, I hesitate a moment. I give him a glance and I say, if you wish to continue to test me, I am not one to challenge your judgment, but I hope you see that each time you have laid a test before me, I have passed it. In fact, I have excelled. You see, I'd like to think, and I now produce the skull, that I've proven myself. All we must do now is get rid of this threat in our way, in your way, my lord, for Nuge and his followers. And I kind of like present the skull.
And he moves around you in this circle. You feel his presence, this gravity orbiting around you, and hear his deep breathing as he comes back in front of you again. I have had many others before you. Many. And
but not in a long while. You see, this tome, it chronicles your daughter's ascension.
Do not speak her name to me, unless you want this partnership to end now.
No, of course not. I only meant to say.
Quiet! And his hand comes out, and you see it goes around the skull, close and caressing, but you notice that his fingers pass through the skull. Do a perception check for me.
Let's see. As my D&D Beyond reloads. Okay, here we go. I got 7 + 2, 9.
It's enough to see that. You see that moment where his hand passes through the skull, and you kind of eye him a little more carefully, and you can tell that his form is not as substantial as you first thought. When he catches your eye as he sees that realization hit, no, I'm not fully here yet. But this skull can make it happen, and quicker than I thought possible. And as he says that, the runes on this skull flare, bright red, glowing, almost like they're projecting out. And his hand is still hovering near it. You must find a place quickly. It will take time to unlock it. Do not get caught. Do not let this pass. Do you understand?
Yes, I understand. But you see, you have... Thank you. You have cast suspicion on me by plucking me away in the way that you've done. I fear that I may struggle to find this place, given my circumstances.
Then I will find someone who can. And you will join me, as I said, eternally. It is your choice. There are many willing.
And I say, I sort of like, my fingers twitch a little bit. Otto summons maybe a bit more courage than he should, and he says, "No one here knows your name. There are no more books in this foreign land. I am your gateway here. I gave you the opportunity. I awoken you. Let me help you."
He bends down, and again, he's about double your height, so he's literally kind of folding over, his face inches from yours. And you see one finger comes up close to your face, and it has a nail on it that's more like a claw, the size of a small dagger. And he moves it down, and you feel it press on your throat. You brought the book to Anacroli. Someone will find it. Do not fail me. And as he does, he pulls his finger across your throat, and you can feel your flesh parting. You feel your arteries cut. You feel your life pumping out of your neck, and then he's gone, and it's healed. And you're gasping again with a memory of pain that this being has caused.
And I look at the skull, and I kind of clutching at my throat. And Otto just looks off. Remind me, where exactly am I?
You don't know. You are surrounded by buildings. With that perception roll, you can see that you look like maybe you're in an alleyway. There are buildings around you.
Yeah. And Otto just sort of like looks off, and you can see by his expression his mind is stirring. And he just kind of nods a few times to himself and leaves the alleyway.
All right. While that's happening, Rigel, you are leading your group as quickly as possible back to your office, retracing your steps and not, luckily, running into the steward or any other guards. What would you like to do?
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, you're muted, buddy.
Oh. Riser, what do you know about this skull that you're not telling us?
under a silent
this. This skull is very important. It is vitally important that the wrong hands don't attract it.
Is it sentient? Did it do something to Otto? Or did he disappear with it? Can you locate it? Can
You
do
know what
anything?
he did, Sybil. Come on, of course he's disappeared with it. Don't even fool yourself. He's been rotten from the very beginning.
What gives you that
The
idea?
fancy one has absconded with the skull. I thought he was your friend.
Whose hands are the wrong hands, Rigel?
The steward, unfortunately, are the wrong hands.
Why?
Because he will give it to those who mean to do anacrally harm.
So he has sold out. He has sold himself out.
It is hard to know. I don't want to believe that.
Has Azley fallen under a different reign? Is Azley no longer Azley as I knew it, Rigel?
Well, Azley has changed, but it is still ours. It will still remain that as long as I draw breath.
Okay, why is no one concerned that our friend disappeared into thin air?
Oh, I am very, very concerned, well-adorned one.
Well, it seems actually that you're more concerned about the skull than you are about our friend's safety.
Oh, well, yes.
As you said, he absconded it, but like, I'm just hoping that he's going to be all right after all of his incredible life-saving he's done for us. Yeah?
Our friend may have gotten himself in over his head.
Okay, I will give you that one. That may have happened.
And so his behavior may not be wholly his own. And so there is a bit of urgency in finding him because I think he's being led astray.
Okay, where are you all getting all this information? I,
You
for
saw
one,
it.
don't know anything about this.
You saw it in the Chaterel temple. He was the only one, and Dagmar as well, and we know what Dagmar is suffering under, at least a little bit. They were the ones who were lit up by the Guardians. None of us were.
Oh, yeah.
So the Guardians
Frankly.
picked up that there's something going on with Otto. And you know the
Okay.
book he carries around and some of his decision making. I'm not blaming the man on his own, but he is ambitious and may have gotten himself in over his head. So to save his life,
The book. And I just remember when I went, it was like a day ago, I think, or a day and a half ago, when I believe this happened. I hope it did. But I went to Otto's when I was kind of going around his effects. I remember opening the book and tearing a page off while he was sleeping. I just think of it and immediately just take it out.
You
and just,
little snoop.
I'm learning from the best, Tabby. And I just open it up and I just look through and I see if there is anything of substance. And Judd, do I see anything specific on this piece of paper?
do I notice that, the writing on that page? Do I notice this page coming
you
from
can-
a certain book?
You can do a perception check. Dagmar, do an investigation check for me. And Otto, while they're doing that, was that the
Well-
book that she tore the page out of?
Yeah.
I remember, but it
is it
seems like it'd be
bollocks?
more fun if it was the bad book. So sure.
Yeah, I think it was anyway. I think you only have
I
one
think
book,
it
right?
was It was when I was sneaking to get his staff, and then I was like,
I got a 20, not
Well,
natural,
you were trying to sneak off and touch Otto's rod. That's what I remember. While he was asleep, which was very weird.
And then I saw that it was nothing special and decided not to do it. Remember correctly.
You walked into that one.
I tip my cap to you.
Well played. Well played.
Yeah, I'm literally gonna rename this in my
What is this?
equipment to Otto's Unremarkable Rod. But Judd, I was gonna say, Otto would like to look around, be it in the alley that he's in, or in another area nearby and look for a good spot to hide the skull.
Okay. We'll roll an investigation check for me as you search for that place. And Dagmara, what did you get for your investigation?
Investigation.
Perception?
I got
Oh.
6.
No.
Perception. If it's perception.
No. It's investigation for you. Perception.
16.
Yeah, 16. Because you're actually investigating this piece of paper that you're looking at, and Seville's trying to kind of look over your shoulder and see what you're looking at. So Seville, you see this black writing at first that doesn't look like common. There are some symbols on it. There's not a lot of writing on it. There is, however, there's reference to it's hard to tell from the page. Maybe it's a deity, maybe it's a demon, it's some sort of lord, and it talks about the power struggle between himself and his daughter, who has taken over, and how this lord, this entity, has started to fall from kind of popular worship. And that's all the page says.
But I definitely notice it's not the one we took, Bollocks.
No.
Good, okay.
Well, I see that he's not only writing sonnets in those books. What?
I got a 13 to find a place.
Okay, so so first of all, you take a look at the statue again. You remember when you came into the city, the statue was facing you, facing the south.
Yeah.
And you're looking at it now, and you're off its right shoulder, slightly behind it. So it gives you, and the palace is right in front of it, the direction it's facing. So you have kind of a general idea of where you're at. It looks like in the area, you seem to be surrounded by a lot of houses. They're smaller than the area that you saw where Dagmara's father lives. But despite their small size, they all seem to be a little bit more decorative. You still see the same thing where all the entrances, all the houses, and all the buildings are about 3 feet off the ground. They all have these step-ups.
Are there any crates? Are there any hidden...
So with that, you cut through some of the darker back alleys, and you find there are several, down this one, you find several barrels that are stacked up behind this building.
How about like a sewer entrance?
There are sewers, yeah. Yeah, you can see some of those.
Okay. I'm gonna go to one of the sewer entrances.
Okay.
And see if I could pull the grate off.
Yeah, do a straight strength check for me.
Oh, come on, Otto. Be able to pull a grate, baby. 11.
Yeah, it doesn't budge. And as you're doing it, you can, you look at, this is not like some backwater town in Faerun. Everything in Azley seems beautifully constructed.
Okay.
Even down this back alley.
So here's what I'll do. I'll go grab one of the barrels and I pull the top off of it and see what's inside.
Okay. The moment you do...
Strength check?
No, we'll give this one to you. I can't get it. I can't get this one off.
We just want Otto for the whole rest of the show to try to strength check everything.
He's grabbing barrels and hitting them from the bottom.
Sprains his wrist trying to open a doorknob. This is pathetic. I try to see what's in the barrel.
Yeah, the moment
summon all the strength I can.
You crack the lid on this barrel, this smell, this kind of like decaying smell hits you, and
that's troubling.
It looks like it's just kind of like a mulch inside. There's you see a bunch of food scraps, and and there's even like a little as this rat like scurries out and like runs off.
Oh no.
Yeah, okay. So I'll stick the skull in the mulch.
Okay.
And then I'll put the lid on. Okay.
Okay.
And then I will try to make sure the lid's on nice and tight.
Okay.
And if I can't lift the barrel, I'll just kind of roll it on its side, and I want to basically roll it into what looks like a secluded part of the alley, somewhere where it's not where the person who would expect to find it would find it.
Yeah.
It's somewhere where I know where it is.
Yeah, no problem. So you secure the lid, you make sure it's on nice and tight, you like roll this thing over on the side, and you start very kind of slowly pushing this thing. It weighs a lot. I mean, there's just a lot of crap in it, basically. But you manage to roll it down this alley, and you come to several other kind of like cross alleys, and you see one that's particularly dark. That doesn't seem like it's getting any of the torchlight that you see on the main areas. And kind of take it down there, and there's actually like a cart down this one, and it looks a little bit like it hasn't been moved in some time. And you kind of wedge the barrel between the wheels, mostly hidden from view.
Yeah. And so I leave it there, and then I write down some notes with on top of the barrel, I put my little inkwell, and I take my quill, and with stress riddled on his face, I write some notes on parchment, and I fold them up nice and neat, and I tuck them into my coat.
Okay.
And then I am going to kind of, so I know where I am in relation to the where the party is, the ball is going on, right?
Correct. Yeah.
How far away is that?
You're guessing about a mile.
I'm guessing about a mile. I would like to sneakily try to get a bit closer to the party, and I want to stick to the alleys, and I want to try to keep an eye out for my friends.
Okay.
Who at least I think are my friends.
As you start to cut through these buildings, making your way towards that massive statue, we're going to jump back to the rest of you. You've had this conversation. I'd say by this time you've made it back up into Rigel's office.
Okay, so not even the secret room. We're in the non-secret.
Well, you could be. It's up to you. I mean, but you've made it back to your area. It could be the secret room if you don't want to advance.
And I would like to show everyone this piece of paper. I know Seville and I were kind of looking it over, but I would imagine that by the time that we've gotten there, I've just shown them, gathered them around, and just said, everyone, look, I have no idea how he got this or what purpose he's using it for, but it's about a dark lord, the ascension of his daughter, and him rising and living again. It sounds too coincidental.
Some sort of fantasy song about himself. He's so narcissistic. He's probably fantasizing about his own parable. It's just another song. He's always fiddling in that.
Well, it's a dark turn to it.
He could be like a master of disguise, and actually he's like a necromancer himself, and he's just been fooling us this whole time that he was Otto.
That's disturbing.
Imagine that.
I mean,
it's a
could
theory.
be possible.
Certainly
All right,
something
well,
about
that's
him
mine.
hasn't seemed on the level. I'll just take. He seems like he's someone who thinks only about himself.
Irrespective
Just
of
motives.
who he is,
Selfish
we need to
imagination.
find him.
Yes.
What was that, Cicero?
Sorry, Rachel.
We need to find him, irrespective of who he is,
Well, could you
whether he
trace?
is.
How do we find him on that disappears? I don't know. Is there any magical tracing? Is there a way to locate him? I mean,
Well,
we don't even know
doesn't
this city.
someone
I'm
run
wanted.
into
I can't go
portals?
running around.
I am not wanted.
Tabby, you
And
said
I-
portals?
Yeah, isn't someone here an amazing detector of portals?
I don't think he went
Yes,
through
but I
a
don't think he
portal.
used a portal. I think he
Okay,
remember he disappeared once on us before, 3 times actually. This is the 3rd time he's disappeared on us. First, when he decided to go and change tribes and just go straight off with these crooks, which showed us right then and there how much he
Okay,
values
I was
good.
with him on that one.
True,
So just
true,
relax.
true. But, well, look, in context, it looks worse. I mean, at the time, I understand maybe you didn't know us, but I mean, he's had several days, and this is the third time. Because remember, when we were in that awful bloody pool with the people in the cages, he disappeared then too. I don't think this is any coincidence. He's got a habit of sneaking about and disappearing on us, and I don't think that we can chalk it up to chance anymore.
I agree.
I agree with
Where
what
do you
you
think he went?
Yeah, he
Peter,
did
I
spend
mean,
Well,
time.
can I
Seville.
hold up the page? Do we think it has something to do with this? As
That looks
crazy
like-
and otherworldly as it seems,
Otto has always had a book. He's taunted me a few times with it as he's tapped it and played into his persona there. He's always kept a grimy book by his side. And he references it a lot. That looks like it may be from that. I know he has a book from the Vivisector, that necromancer we found in that stone mansion that I went back to. But that looks like it's, I don't know, a page from that book. I don't know what he's into, and I know he jumped and followed the necromancers. I don't know how he got back. Something could have happened to him there. Did he get turned? Is his mind his own? But
I was going to ask you.
I'll tell you this, when he did, and I ran up to him, there was a moment when he looked at me. Unless he's just being a little devil and a trickster, I have to say that when he told me, Seville, I need help, maybe against my better judgment, but I believed him. I'm not sure his mind is entirely his own or that he may have gotten into trouble, but I'm going to do something that I normally wouldn't do. I want to help him out. Perhaps we can save him from himself. None of this looks good at all.
Well, he couldn't have gotten far.
This is true, and I think that the best way to find someone who's gone and disappeared is we've got to get into their headspace. And I just like begin pacing around, doing my best impression of Otto. And I'm like,
Well, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
I'm like, yes, everyone, listen to me. I'm so charming. La, 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 la. I'm writing a song that I never actually sing out loud because I don't like to make them up on the spot.
Oh, damn. It's pick on Otto night.
Little fun shade for a cat.
I love it. I love it.
Oh.
Oh wow, that was double plus good.
You know that's really hurtful to me, given how much you know how much I hate the sound of any singing over Zoom. How dare you?
How dare I?
And you are but the greatest fan of my musical improv group. How dare you?
I mean, Skiles has got the
Feels like to be
chops.
betrayed, Otto.
Look, Ariset, I understand your trepidation and I respect it. We have a saying in the Edgeguard that it's better to see a friend or lose a friend to death than it is to lose him to evil. I just want to make sure we haven't lost him to evil. But if he has gone over to the other side and is unreachable, then he is standing in our way.
So you're saying we need to find out either way, because if he has turned, I'll be the first to kill him.
Well, let's figure out if we can find out what it is that this. I can't help but want to know more about why Otto has something like that.
Just
so
keep
Rigel, and I look at his Rigel's library and I ask him, is there anything in your literature, anything at all, that in any way harkens to this? I would like to believe it's a sort of story, I do. But
The things that go bump in the night also went knock in the night. They were stories to scare little children, but they scared grown-ups as well and terrified them as well. This story is true.
all right.
We have some decisions to make, and one of them is how the hell are we gonna? We don't even know if he's in the city or not.
We
And
do.
how long-
We do know if he's in the city.
We do.
That portal.
How do we know?
That portal could not have taken him too far.
So you
he
do think he used a
remains in
portal?
Azley.
You think he
Well,
used a portal, not his own magic?
It was not his own magic. As a magic user myself, one more powerful than you, I could tell.
Well,
And
why
how
don't we
far
find the
have-
same portal and use it then? Why don't we just follow him?
I don't know. Why doesn't the person who can detect portals try to detect the portal?
Real quick. So how far have I made it back to where they
Hint,
be?
hint. No.
I mean, I'm going to say
I
that
didn't think you used one.
as they're having this conversation, I mean, it's only been a few minutes, but you did emerge from the surrounding of these buildings that you were in, and you came to this, looks like a massive park. And you can see on your right that there's one of the rivers that comes off of the waterfall in the center of town. Passing you, you see a couple bridges that go into the next kind of section of Azley. And this park seems to be a triangle that's going to a point that ends at the base of the structure that the large statue sits on. So, I mean, I'm going to say you've probably gone like, a quarter of a mile at this point, and, you're...
Okay.
So you
Yeah,
have
I'm
a couple choices. You can either keep going straight to try to get right to the base of the statue, which you, where the waterfalls are. Even in the dark, you can see the mist coming off of them. Or you can cross over a bridge and try to make your way around to get into the front.
Well, are there any, say, guards or people, vagrants? Anybody around?
You're seeing a lot of people. You're seeing some couples go through the park at night. There are different walking paths that are lit very faintly.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to remember what the weather's like. If anybody's wearing a cloak or a coat or anything like that.
Yeah, it's cool up here. It's not cold, but people have coats on, and it seems to be more of almost like a fashion statement.
Yeah. Even better.
Yeah.
So I just like really rudely and overtly go and like interrupt this couple that was about to have like the sweetest moment of like their relationship up to this point. And this really nervous looking guy, just like right before their lips get like anywhere close to touching, I'm like, yes, hello, sorry to interrupt. And I take out like 10 gold coins and I like put it into the guy's hand without him even asking, and I'm like, sorry, I would just like to purchase this coat. And I start like trying to like
Wait, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop it!
Oh, sorry. 10 gold. I could do 15. Final offer.
And the girl that he's with is like at first like kind of horrified, but then she's like the 15, and you're like, oh, give it to him. Give it to him. I hate that coat.
I'm like,
yes, you can have it. You can have it. You can have it for. You can have it for 20. For 20.
This is so GTA.
Yeah,
the girl's holding on to it. She's like, you can have it for 20.
And Otto's in like such a hurry, and he's like fumbling over his gold. He accidentally gives him 22 golds.
Yeah, and she starts helping pull it off of him, and it's like, take it. But I'm cold
and
now.
I'm like, yes, bless you. And I throw the coat over me, and I keep walking.
Okay. All right.
And I'm just gonna try to make it back to where I think they are.
Okay, so again, you can kind of go towards the, like, straight to the center, or you can take a bridge and start making your way around to try to get around to the front. Your choice.
The bridge or the... Sorry, I was trying to update my gold. What did you say?
You can either go, you can go straight to the center, and you see there are walkways that are very well lit. That look like it might be a ring that kind of goes around the bottom of the center. Or you can take a bridge to your right and start making your way through other neighborhoods and parts of Azley to try to get around to the front of the statue where the palace is.
Okay.
Your choice.
I will go over the bridge, and I'll pull my hood up, and I'll have this disguised coat over me, and I'll be trying to make my way back.
Got it. Okay. All right. We're jumping back to the rest of you then. What are you doing?
Okay, so I need to know, Rigel, do these portals all lead to one another, or do they, is there a system? Is it like a interconnected series of portal tunnels, so to speak?
No, I don't understand why you have this impression. This is someone took your friend and transported him from where we were to somewhere else in the city. But there is no interconnected mass transit system in Azley. It is quite a good idea, though. Maybe I will bring it to the board.
So
someone
wait, hang
took
on.
him.
How do you know? How do you know somebody took him?
Well, he was not able to do this on his own. And you didn't do it, and I didn't do it. And we don't have portals yet. So it must have been someone else.
Oh my gosh.
Well, the more I find out about this legend, and again I hold this up, the more I'm thinking that I might actually know who it might have been. So I say we just find him as soon as we can before he forever disappears, however annoying, before he forever goes away and we never see him again.
But you know
I
he's in the
agree.
city.
Yes, and I have been doing some thinking like Otto, and let me say, I think he's probably out of the palace, so we can at least start there.
Excellent,
Probably a
Tabby.
good idea.
Welcome. You
Let me know what else you figure out.
I will
trust.
keep you
I
informed.
trust.
And
I
as
trust
you
your instincts.
as you're having that conversation, Ariset, you hear it first. Your head snaps to the door out into the hall, and you hear running footsteps coming down the hall. And a moment later, Rigel, are you in there?
1 second. Who is it?
Hey, the prisoner you gave us, sir, has escaped.
Well, look at that.
On my way.
And Rigel goes to the door.
Yeah. And you recognize the two guards are not the ones that took the prisoner away, but these are guards that are known to you. I'm sorry to disturb you, sir. We found your normal guards. They've been knocked out. And we've revived them. They said they were escorting an edge guard.
Correct. So, Benny and June are knocked out?
They're okay now. We've helped them recover, but they were quite insistent that we come report to you right away. And
Yes.
to give their apologies, sir.
How long ago did this happen?
I think they said about 30, 40 minutes ago.
Very well, thank you. Redouble your efforts. Try to find this edge guard. And if you don't find him within an hour, come and find me.
Yes, sir. And they turn and they sprint off.
All right.
Rigel, is the
Yes.
old astronomy tower still, does it still stand? Does it still have all the telescopes and all the contraptions that...
But
Oh,
of
there's
course
none.
it does. I would never let anything happen to that.
Well, in that case, this might seem ludicrous, but what if one of us went up there and just kept watch? What if we pointed one of the telescopes down through the city, just as a precaution, just to see if we notice anything or anyone, while the rest of us look?
It is not the worst thing, not the worst plan in the world.
All right.
Let's think, what does Otto want? And do you think he could accomplish it by himself? And I'm asking that because he seems like he needs us. Why
He
not?
does. I just don't know if he realizes it.
He
Well-
wants to be well dressed, and he wants to be the most charming man in the room.
Yes, and he wants to mean something to his kingdom, which clearly
he
he
wants to have a
doesn't.
legendary story for his kingdom.
He wants to be important.
Yeah.
There we
Also
go.
wants to be important.
Right?
So...
And I do
feels like
think
a
he
murder
wants
mystery.
to help destroy the necromancers. I think he does want that.
I have to agree with you. It's just how he wants to do it and what he's willing to do it, and that's where his choices may go off the rails a bit. If he wants to impress or be someone vastly important, the hero that he keeps teasing me that I am, what's he willing to do for it? How badly does he want to be famous? How badly does he want to return to Faerun, as he constantly reminds us of victorious of something? So,
And
My
who would
biggest
he
fear
go
about
to?
Otto is that he has nothing to lose. Anyone that miserable, that empty, that unloved and disgraced in his hometown
well, he
is
does.
easily susceptible. If he has nothing to fight for other than himself, he could easily be
Quite
turned.
frankly- Quite
Yes.
frankly, I feel
And-
bad for the man.
That statement that Erisette said just kind of like hits me kind of hard. And I just like have a moment. And I kind of like snap out of it.
But if
All right, well,
Otto
let's
loses-
get going.
Go ahead.
We gotta start looking somewhere. He could be on the move.
How far have I made it, baby?
Well, I will just. I don't want to separate from the group. Does anyone want to come with me to the watchtower?
I don't think
Anybody?
separating's a good idea. It's burned us before.
No,
I
I,
have to
don't want to
agree
separate.
this time.
But I
No,
will say,
yes.
you know, Rigel, if you're telling me that he didn't do this of his own accord, that changes things. I mean, I'm all for helping somebody in need. If he's really in over his head and he didn't do this on purpose, it's very different. And I would think he would be in grave danger if this wasn't something he did of his own accord.
The time to sort that out is after we acquire the skull. The steward will be returning if he has not already returned, and the first place he will go is to the vault to retrieve the skull and give
What
it to
is-
the edge guard.
What is the fastest way out of the building?
Follow me.
Well, didn't Otto say he left the skull back there? So isn't it in the place, or at least?
Did
I
not.
follow you.
That
He did
sounded
not.
like a lie to me.
He did not leave that skull.
Actually, I said it didn't sound like a lie to you.
Oh, it
Pretty convinced.
sounded very convincing to
You
me,
were-
but I've changed my mind since.
Yeah.
Okay.
31
Circumstances.
deception. I'm believing everything he
So,
says.
as Rigel, you walk over and you open the door and you all start to file out quickly. Otto, you have made your way over the bridge. You come through another kind of residential section. This looks nicer. It doesn't take you long to cut across before you come to another river and another bridge. And this one, as you're crossing this bridge, you can see on the far side there are guards, mini guards, and past them you see what the main gate that you went through into the kind of government section that's just outside the palace, teeming with other guards there. And so at
Okay.
this point, you're probably only about, like an eighth of a mile. You're pretty close to at least to the entrance of the palace grounds.
Okay. Let's see. I will look around. I'll sort of find a place to chill for a second in an alleyway, or maybe even sitting on the ledge of a rooftop if it seems like it's relatively easy to get up on one. And I'll just kind of sit there and I'll be looking out for any sign of my friends
Okay.
from the palace area.
So you're at the foot of the bridge right now. We'll say that you see the guards on the far side. So
I just avoid them. Yeah, I tuck
Yeah.
into like an alley.
Yeah.
or
So there's an alley nearby, and there are buildings. The buildings around you are all about 2-story. If you one looks like it might be easier to climb just from the way the stone has been carved. If you want to kind of try to scale
And
the
just
side.
Just to be clear, I could. Am I able to see if, say they were to emerge from the palace or even through windows or whatever? Is it within a distance that I could reasonably see them from here?
You couldn't see the palace. I mean, you can see the palace when you were crossing the bridge.
But I wouldn't be able to see them.
No, but you would be able
Okay.
to see if they came out the same gate. You might. There's a chance you might be able to see them.
Nah, but that's the gate where everyone's entering into the party, right?
It's the gate to the section of the palace grounds. You remember there were about 20 guards passing or standing around. There were big dwarven statues. You passed, Rigel just walked on in and they parted for him. The palace itself is a little ways beyond that.
All right, you know what? This is getting all, as they would say in the South, cattywampus. So, no roof climbing, no stakeout. Time to move this baby along. So, I'm just gonna walk up to one of the guards and approach and seem nice and normal, and I'll even try to keep an eye out for which one of them looks like or gives any other indication that they're like the superior.
Okay.
Around here.
Do a quick investigation check for me, or actually perception.
13 plus 2, 15.
15. So you look at the guards and you see you catching the eye of a few, and they just kind of nod to you. You see there are other citizens here that are denizens that are just passing through, and the guards they're just watching. They're not stopping anybody. You can see they're just kind of milling about. Yeah. But you look, and one, a woman, looks like she's elven. You get that she's got a helmet on, but you see a bit of a pointed ear, beautiful ebony skin, and her armor's a little more adorned, and you can tell just by the way that the others kind of stand a little bit straighter around her, and she's just got these kind of really sharp eyes as she's just checking kind of everything out, just kind of strolling about in the area.
I go up to her and I speak really softly, and as I approach, I say, not in a very soft tone, "Oh, good evening." But then as I get close to her, I say, and I whisper to her, "I'm doing special operations for Rigel. Tell him Otto needs to see him, and here, send as many as you need." And without any response needed, I start to walk away toward the alley where I came from.
That was a very boss move, I must say.
She looks at you a moment. She watches you retreat, and she leans over. She whispers something to another guard and turns and strides back quickly to the direction of the guardhouse.
And I just wait in the alley, and I'm like sighing and like drinking wine and writing bad poetry and songs and just sulking in an alleyway waiting.
And as you kind of make your way back to that alley, you kind of look over your shoulder before you dart in. You can see some of the guards have followed at a distance, just to perhaps keep an eye on you. Okay. All right, so Rigel, back to you.
Yeah. Let's do some stuff, right?
Whatever you want.
we must go out of
where
would
We just go back to your father's house. That's probably the safest place right now. We need privacy.
Does Dagmara,
I can't help but...
Does your friend know where your father lives?
No, he does, yes. I'd like to think he remembered. Yes. Are you saying...
Well...
I want, yes, I if my father is in danger, if Otto can endanger him, I want to make sure that I see if he's okay. Absolutely.
Please continue.
Oh, yes. My father might have something to help us potentially locate him as well.
If your friend is indeed your friend, there are 3 places that he could go in Azley, because those are the 3 places that he knows. This castle. Dagmara's father. And the tavern where we all met.
The tavern's too public. He wouldn't do that carrying something.
And I already said he's definitely got to be outside the palace, so that leaves us with our last option.
Yes.
Dagmara's dad's house.
Yes,
Let's
go very quickly.
So, maybe we'll find him on the way. We will retrace our steps.
Let's hope. But if we don't, if he's not there, I'm going up to the tower. I'm sorry. I have a feeling that the looking glass will help us.
And
We
as you
still have our masks, right?
Well,
Oh yeah, am I disguised? Does that
I
leave?
thought you guys stopped using them at least temporarily.
I think we shed them when we went into the secret dungeon passageway.
Right, correct.
That feels right.
Because we all said that we put our armor and shit back on. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yep, it's true.
Yeah.
And if you try them again, they no longer work. And Rigel, as you open the door, you guys have had, you kind of started to leave the office. And again, the hallway that your office is off of is quite long. And as you step out, you see off to your left, which is not the direction that you came from originally. The gala is off to your right. But you can see a kind of flank of very important looking people coming up. They're quite a distance away, but they are heading in this direction.
We must go now.
All right, I'm doing disguise self to turn myself into Sava Utiel.
Okay.
So you see me as just in black leathers, black hair hanging over, shaved side, olive complexion skin, and I'm back to Utiel.
I am mounting Snack, getting into my little tucked down jockey position.
Okay.
And I'm grabbing Dagmara again and pretending that she's my lover. And just we're walking hand in hand and nonchalantly and giggling.
And at first I kind of look like, and I'm like, and just kind of like once in a while.
If you picked Seville, you wouldn't even have to pretend.
But then my palms would be sweaty, you see, so that would be awkward. So, all right, so do we make it past these people, Judd?
Well, we're going the opposite direction.
You're going the opposite direction, yeah.
Oh,
So
good.
Rigel turns out, he spots those and very quickly goes to the right and starts leading you all quickly down the hall.
Okay, so
And-
as soon as we're out of sight, I look behind it and I start running and say, go as fast as you can, Rigel.
Yeah.
We must remain as inconspicuous as we possibly can.
Oh.
We shall
and
travel briskly.
I get off Snack.
Just like very like subtly slide off of Snack, just like start walking again at the same height you were before, by the way.
Yeah.
So, nice. And are you just going to take them out of the palace?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the goal is to get out of the palace, make our way back towards that gate where we came in.
Great. So about halfway down this hallway that you took before when you were going to the party, Rigel, you make an abrupt right down this more narrow kind of hallway, and you open a door, and you see there another set of smaller stairs, and he starts leading you down, and through this series of kind of less conspicuous routes, maybe this kind of circuitous route that he's taking you through this palace to avoid anybody else. You come out to another small hallway. There's a door at the end. You make your way. Rigel, you open it and you turn right into a guard. And at first you all kind of freeze, but then recognition dawns, and this is one of the guards you talked to before. So I'm so sorry, I've been looking for you. The steward arrived about 45 minutes ago. I've looked all over the palace. You weren't in your office. I know you wanted us to tell you right away. But he is here on the grounds.
Prepare the party for his arrival.
They've already done it, sir. I think he's off in the dungeons at the moment.
Very well. Please let me know when he returns from the dungeons.
Yes, sir. Where shall I find you?
Keep looking until you do.
Yes, sir. And he just kind of bows and walks off. And without a second glance back, Rigel continues on, and you open another door, and you're in the grand entrance of the palace. You see that massive staircase off to your right, and Rigel just cuts over and out the front doors. And where are you going from here, Rigel? Are you going to continue to retrace your steps back the way that you all came in?
Yes, so we're going to go towards the gate where all of the guards are.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of make a show of taking my friends back to wherever it was that they were going, and so that way we've got witnesses that we left the grounds.
Great. You make it about halfway to that gate, and you see striding up to you again another guard. This is the same captain that Otto spoke to before, and you see recognition. You don't know her by name, but you certainly have seen her before at the gate. She's kind of in charge of the regiment that mans this side gate here to the palace. And her eyes light up when she sees you.
Captain.
Just who I was looking for, sir. I'm sorry, can I have a private word?
Very well.
And she steps to the side.
You step to the side.
A very curious person came up to me at the gate and said that he was doing an operation for you by the name of Otto, and that he would be waiting nearby.
He spoke very fancy.
He a bit. He looked rather scared, actually.
Yes. Where is he?
My guards are watching him. He's just over the bridge in an alleyway, not far.
Take us to him.
Yes, sir. And she turns and marches you off.
Was I able to hear that with my elven hearing?
No, this was very whispered, and she stepped away.
Okay.
It looks like
And so I go back to the group and, or actually I kind of gesture for the group to come follow, and as soon as they catch up, Rigel says,
it looks like our search will be over very soon.
Thanks to my incredible deduction skills. You're welcome, everyone.
How did that happen? Was it some sort of rabbit trick? Is this a trick? Rigel, have you been messing with us this whole time?
We'll find out soon enough. I am not in the mood for tricks.
Me neither.
Not when this is involved.
Well,
All right.
nice to see we agree.
We'll lead the way.
Let's get them.
so we're following the
Yeah, and
captain.
as you're following the captain and you pass through the guardhouse and you see all the guards are kind of snapping to attention. You see through the glass of this guardhouse, the whole room starts to light up with this brilliant, it's kind of an orangish light. And you see all the guards immediately look at this light and snap into action, and several of them start rushing out to stop you, and then once again see that it's Rigel. And oh, I'm sorry, sir, but we seem to be out of alert, so we're gonna have to lock down the gate.
Very well, we'll lock it down after I go.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
through.
And so you pass through and you see them. They're pulling these gates closed, and there's another portcullis that's dropping, and the guards start lining up, like back to back on different sides of the portcullis, creating this barrier on both sides. And you look back behind at the palace, and you can see other guards running and starting to kind of spread out of the main door. Guards just coming out of everywhere.
What's going on? Rigel, what is going on?
It looks like, can't you tell, Erisette? Looks like someone's been to the dungeon and found out that something's missing.
The steward has returned.
Oh no.
Well, I'm glad that we're getting out of here. It seems like it would be quite hard to break out.
And
Yeah.
so did
She leads you over, and she stops at a respectful distance, points to the alley, and says, I'm sorry, I must return for the alarm. If you need anything else, we'll be at the gate. And she turns and runs back with her other guards.
all right. So, and then can we see? So Rigel has dark vision. Can Rigel see Otto, or can he see anyone in the?
Yeah. So you come around the corner and you peer, and Otto.
Yeah. He's just sitting there on maybe like a box, and it's clear by the crustiness on his lips and the red stains around them that he has had way too much wine, a lot of it, really quickly. And he's like, there you are. Do you like the new coat? I overpaid terribly for it, I'm afraid.
Rigel sees him, and he casts the cantrip encode thoughts. So he takes 2 fingers to his temple.
Okay.
And he sends a thought of a lightning bolt going through an effigy of Otto, striking him from the top of his head through his skull all the way down to his body, and smoke emanating out of Otto's like orifices. Wow. And he sends that thought, which becomes an image for Otto to see, and puts it in front of him.
Yeah, Otto sort of like has this very like nihilistic like chuckle almost, and he's like, I suppose it's among the worst ways to go, but the worst? I don't know. My mind's been able to be awfully creative lately.
Well, I would hate for any of those things to come to pass. Where is the skull?
Nor would I. And I kind of like flick up from my coat a piece of paper, folded up piece of parchment, and I hold it out.
That is not the skull.
Read it.
So Rigel grabs the sheet of paper.
Okay. And for fun,
all right,
I'm gonna post it in the chat.
All right.
But I will also read it as the voice of Otto.
Okay.
Writing says, I've made a terrible mistake. I know I have not earned your trust, but please, trust me now. But I can't discuss it at this moment. Not here. The Temple of Cicero. We need to go there, where even the eyes and ears of gods cannot hear us. Speak nothing aloud of this, I beg you. I can explain everything. Take me there, and I will tell you where the skull is.
And Rigel, you know there's no temple to Cicero in the city.
I was told that there was.
Yeah, but that's okay. But there is a very famous temple that Dagmara knows of, and Rigel, you would know as well. And it's the Lysair Temple, and it's actually fairly close by. Temple of Kahaya.
And as he's reading the note, I let out like a hiccup, because I've had too much alcohol, and I just look at him desperately.
And do we see all of this? Do we hear this? How far away are we? Are we just right behind Rigel?
Yeah, I mean, you're all there. Is this happening mentally, or are you?
No. So the cantrip, the encode thoughts, takes an image from my brain, from Rigel's brain.
It just puts it in his.
Creates something that everyone can see.
But yeah, I've been saying all this out loud. I think
Okay,
you guys
that's what I
could
thought.
hear
That's
everything.
what I thought.
We're
Yeah,
not
so
being
you-
whispery. We're not being quiet.
But you're handing over a
it.
note, right? So
I hand over a note.
So the note, Rigel reads, and then hands to whomever is closest to him.
Okay, so we all read it.
Yeah, and I grab it anyway. I was on my way to grab it. So
Yeah, everybody.
I was about to grab it. And when I read it,
Do any of you have any spare wine?
I'm gonna give it to Seville.
It seems as though you've had quite enough, Otto.
So I'm going to just check the handwriting to see if it's indicative of someone being inebriated or if it was pre-inebriation.
Yeah, that's good. Roll an investigation check. Dagmara, when the note gets to you, you look at the Chateau reference, and you know there's no Temple of Chateau here, but you've been wanting to return to the Temple of Light. That is the Lycero Temple.
And I might even, once the note passes over to Dagmara, I sort of like smirk at her and I'm like, we had a deal after all.
Indeed, we did. Although I'm quite afraid you may not be able to go exactly where where this note instructs. I think you'll find something quite suitable in there. It'll be safe for you and that was trouble in this drunk mind.
There's not much we need to say here. We mustn't dally.
Let us go.
I'm ready.
So
Your friend is drunk.
16.
Carry him.
16.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's actually pretty clear. So it looks like he wrote it before he was inebriated.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful script of somebody who looks like he had lessons on his penmanship.
Calligraphy.
Yeah,
It's one of his few talents, really. His real, true, bona fide talents.
It's quite beautiful.
It's
Yes.
so sad when that's like what you resort to. Is penmanship is one of your talents.
It is
really sad.
I took 4
sad,
levels in
but-
penmanship. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
is. I'm proficient in fancy writing, but you know, like many truths, it's sad nonetheless.
Yeah, no, right.
So I'll just kind of help him up and just whisper to him, I hope whatever you did doesn't turn out like the breastplate you bargained for. And
I let out a chuckle.
And I'll just kind of help him and
Yeah, and
draw him up.
as you all kind of like get him to his feet, Rigel, you know where to go. It's very close by, and you start very quickly leading the way. And behind you, you can see now the gates are actually going up, and you're seeing like a phalanx of guards starting to move out of the palace. And you're hearing commotion in other parts of the city that Rigel, you know, are more of the kind of where the troops are stationed outside of the palace grounds. And it seems like the city is coming alive. And as this all happens around you and you move off into the darkness, the towering elven statue over you, we're going to take a quick break. So, we will be right back in about 10 minutes, everybody. And so hang in there. Thank you for the new follows and the subscriptions. Love you all.
What's going on here?
Let's see what's going to happen in the second half.
No.
Yeah. It'll be really... Shit's going to hit the fan, so...
50th episode.
50th episode. Come back in 10 minutes. We'll see you then, everybody.
See you,
See you soon, guys.
in 10. All
And we
right.
are... Wait. And we are back. Hello, everyone. Thanks for waiting
Yeah.
while we had a little break.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Just a teeny tiny one.
What you doing? What was
we're
that, Peter?
That was
I don't know. I can't. I had a movie thing in my head where they're doing this kind of dance. I think it might have been 16 Candles. Then I went like I'm running down a hallway because of the back. I don't know. I just went for it.
It kind of looked like the gopher from Caddyshack. Like, all right.
There we go.
I like it. I like it.
I knew it's something 80s.
It was something cinematic.
All right, we got scrambled here, but I'm fixing our frames.
Yeah, scrambled.
Yeah, I don't know why. Zoom.
We got scrambled.
We're good. We're good, and we're back. It doesn't matter. We're all good.
Tight.
Okay.
Give us a sec.
We're all good. Okay. So
Judd would be excellent at one of those number puzzles, slide puzzles.
There you go.
He is excellent at number puzzles.
Sudoku is his bitch.
I do like Sudoku. That's good stuff. So before we jump in, I will say thanks to new followers and our subscribers. Seriously, thank you all so much. If you keep that thing going, we can give away the Rime of the Frost Maiden D&D digital edition on D&D Beyond. Or if you don't have D&D Beyond, or you already have it and you want the book, we can do that as well. We're going to do that for our 600th followers. So if that triggers tonight, awesome. If not, it'll probably be next week. But keep that train going, y'all. Love you. And jumping back into the story. So just to remind you where we're at. Otto has bamfed out with the skull that you were teamed up together with Rigel to retrieve, and has now stashed it, and his friends have reunited with him, and they're taking him off to a temple. And that's what we'll jump back in as Rigel. You, I'll just say you can tell me where you want to go, but assuming, since you know the city so well and you're close to that inner ring that goes around the center structure of the city that allows access to all the other kind of sections of Azley, of which the temple sits very close to the ring on the far side, so it won't take you very long to get there. Let me know if you want to do anything special, otherwise you can get there pretty quickly.
Well, let's take the route that would make us the most inconspicuous.
Okay, so not the ring. Okay. So instead, you will just kind of almost mimicking the route that Otto took on his way over here, going across some of the bridges, cutting through some neighborhoods, cutting through the park that none of you have seen before. It's kind of like Central Park, you know, you just come all these buildings and all of a sudden there's this beautiful park, and it's kind of multi-dimensional, and there are pathways lit, and there are these little blue, like small flame torches that light these paths. They give just enough light, and it's very pretty. It looks like there's a large body of water that does not flow, just like a pond or a small lake in the center of this very large park. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was saying my breathing kind of, as we track our way to the temple, my breathing kind of quickens as we go. My palms are sweating a little bit, and I just go to Rigel very, very discreetly, and I say, Rigel, do we have to go to the temple? Is there any other place that we could conduct this situation? Does it have to be that temple of Lycere?
We need the skull. You read the note.
Yes, but it said the temple of Chateauroux, and that has nothing to do with Lycere. Why don't we just go to a different one? I believe that there is an apothecary, and I think the shrines off to the west, we could go to those.
We must be on sacred ground. For there, the soldiers won't look for us.
All right. Lead the way.
Is that an open conversation that we just heard?
No, I think it was a side conversation.
Yeah, we'll try to make it as discreet as possible, but someone could have overheard. Yeah.
No, I got Otto just kind of helping him along. I just didn't know if that was a shouted, hey, I want to go here.
I mean,
no.
Yeah, Rigel's leading the way, and I'd say because he's moving quickly, there's great urgency in his movement that Dagmar, you'd have to kind of trot up a few steps to get next to him.
Yeah, I'm imagining him like running up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I jog up to Seville and I'm like, Seville, are you as lost as I am? I don't understand anything going on right now. I mean, supposedly, per Rigel, Otto was kidnapped essentially out of where we were, and yet he just shows up nonchalantly, drunk, with a little school pass of sorts, a absentee note, a permission slip of some kind, and just all of a sudden he's reappearing, and yet there was no way we could go find him. I mean, what is going on?
What choice do we have but to figure out what he's doing?
So do you think he's lying? Or do you think
It's entirely
Rigel's
possible he's lying.
What if Rigel's lying? I'm starting to wonder. I'm beginning to kind of, I don't know.
I imagine I'm listening in on this one.
Well,
And- Is Otto passed out yet, Judd? Or is he awake?
no, he's awake, but and Seville's
got
basically
him,
helping carry him.
by the way,
He's not passed out.
no.
Otto, are you lying?
Who's drunk here?
Hey,
I'm just
you
thinking
lying?
maybe he's so drunk, like you can get a Veritas syrup out of him. Otto, which one's full of it? You or Rigel?
Keep walking, and you'll find out.
the only thing we'll have here is if we're walking into a trap. So, Otto, we're humoring you right now, which means a lot coming from your friends, but know that we are quite pissed off and concerned and wondering what the hell is going on. So, you're not walking us into a trap, are you?
No, I swear to you, I'm not.
That's
And
a
you
good
have
thing.
every right to be upset. But all will be explained in time. Now, please, make haste.
Then let's go, and I'll kind of pick up the pace and kind of right on Rigel's heels and say the faster we get there, the better.
That's great.
And I just, as I'm walking,
Watch our
just
flank.
My nervousness has become almost frustrated in a way. So as I'm hearing all this talk and I'm hearing Otto just say what he's saying, I just turn to him and I just say, Otto, I want to make sure that our side of the deal is still on. Whatever it is you do, whoever it is you talk to, we're there. We're going to listen. We're going to be right there next to you. We're going to feel a presence right at the tip of your mustache. You understand?
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Good.
Perfect.
And I just carry on.
All right, and Dagmara.
I'm gonna hang back and mount Snack, and I also wanted to ask you, how has Snack's fur been around Otto?
Ooh.
Good question.
Nice. Good call.
Do a perception check. Let's do that, and we'll see.
All right, this is my first roll of the night, team.
Yeah. Now we're rolling tonight.
Ooh, okay, so I rolled a 17 plus perception, you
Plus
said?
5, yeah.
Plus 5.
Nice, well done. Okay, so
Ooh.
yeah, and Tabitha, you are used to paying attention. That is your thing, and you've been glancing down at Snack the whole time. That since you've encountered Otto, and really since you left the palace, is something that you've started to do because this cat seems to have kind of intrinsic feel for things. You noticed there was a bit of agitation when Snack came upon Otto, but it wasn't much, and there was really no change in the fur, and there's no kind of aggravated step anymore. Snack almost seems kind of bored.
Okay.
Like his eyes lit up a little bit, or her eyes, sorry, lit up a little bit when you went into the park, thinking, started kind of lowered down and start looking for something to kill, but was disappointed as there's almost nothing that she saw, and you zipped through the park to the other side rather quickly. So
Great.
yeah, and speaking of Dagmara, you see as Rigel's leading ahead. You see that you're coming to the next river that's in front of you that separates the sections, and beyond it you see the lit up glass towers of the temple, and it's beautiful. All of you see it. It's a very large building, and it has multiple kind of turrets, these peaks that are these beautiful glass panels with this metal in between, and it's just like this glowing, it almost looks like kind of this glowing cake in front of you. And as Rigel leads you over the final bridge, you see that the entire temple is behind a pretty high wall as you got closer. And there seems to be only one main gate, and you make your way there, and the gate is down or closed. Dagmar, you've been here. You know how to do it. You walk over to a section, and it's a smaller ring knocker. It's not on the wood gate itself. It's over on the side on the stone on this plaque, this brack plaque, and and it has this almost kind of unnatural echoing sound effect. You can hear boom with every hit, and as it just reverberates, seems to be some device that is carrying the sound wave, and nothing happens, and a few more times, and I'm coming. And after a moment, you see this old man, and he's, I'm coming. You just hear, and he's shuffling.
And as he's doing it, I pull down my sleeve very specifically tightly on my left arm.
Okay. And he comes up, and he can see you through, there's slats in this gate. What do you want?
Good evening. We
it's very late. What do you want?
You want to let us in. My absolute respects. I am the daughter of Dr. Paterna. We have special guests of high notability, and we are to meet in the main chamber, if you might. We apologize for the intrusion again.
I haven't been told of any meeting. Who are you meeting? It's really late.
As a matter of fact, it's mostly who we're meeting with and who is leading our meeting. And I motion Rigel to come this closer to the door. It is
hello, Abby.
Rigel.
Navabottom.
Good evening.
Who are you meeting? I have not been told of your presence yet. It's late. I was sleeping.
Well, we've come a long way, and we have come to worship and meet. Take care of two things at the same time, as it were.
Yes, you see, I used to be a pupil at the temple.
And he just turns and starts walking off. And you see he disappears into a small side door, not the main door. You see this beautiful stone main door ahead of you for the temple. But he goes in this small kind of wooden door on the side. And
I just turn to Rigel and I say, he's gotten grumpier with the ears.
Haven't we all?
And after a moment, you see he comes out, and he just kind of looks at you, and he goes into a little chamber that's off. You can't quite see it from where you're standing, and you hear just this, and slowly the gate rises up. Come.
And we do.
Go, grabbing an Otto and just shuffle him right through there as fast as we can.
Drunk, nice.
And then I specifically go to Otto and I kind of like slap him a little more awake, and I grab his chin and I say, right at the tip of the mustache. You understand? Now stay awake. And I kind of give one last tap.
Yes, no, I'm awake. Trust me. Now, and I look at Rigel, and I don't know if the old person who let us in is still within earshot, and I say, there must be some high cleric, someone here. Go on and fetch them if you would.
So, I'm assuming that there is like a courtyard or something to that effect.
Yeah, there is, between the gate and the front door.
Between the gate and the actual temple. So we're making our way to the temple.
Yeah, and actually, as you're kind of looking around, and It's been a while since you've been here, Rigel. You hear behind you, and you see that he's lowered down the gate and is shuffling off once again. And as he passes you, drunk, and goes into his little door, shuts the door.
And I say, we need to find a high cleric or someone skilled. And I take the other note that I wrote out of my pocket. And it is once again another really nicely folded up piece of parchment. And I give it to Rigel first, and I'll again post the note in the chat so that the viewers along can read along. But as you unfold, or I'll let you say, but I assume.
So Rigel is, as this conversation is happening, Rigel is steadily walking them towards the temple doors.
Yes.
So that we can get inside the temple, out of, away from prying eyes.
Yeah.
And he takes the note. He doesn't snatch it, but he definitely takes it with a firm hand, and he cuts a glance at Otto to let him know that his patience is running very, very.
Otto gives him a look like, I know.
And you're about 15 feet away, by the way, from the main front doors, and they are these beautifully sculpted stone doors of one-time dwarven make. And as you get about 15 feet away, you see they just split and start opening inward. And standing there is a very tall woman wearing these beautiful robes, kind of like a light silk, and with this kind of gold trim here and there. And
as soon as I see her, I kind of avert my face a little bit.
And that second that you saw Dagmar, you don't recognize this one. And you're still about 15 feet away. You're moving your forward. So Rigel, please continue.
Yeah, so basically I give him the note and I say, when we find the person, you'll want to give them that. Go on, read it.
Very well.
Read it to us, Rigel.
I need you to ensure that there is no scrying from other planes, blocking powerful deities even. Perform a ritual if necessary. There is much at stake.
Very cryptic.
That's it?
And did you read that out, Rigel?
Deities.
Yes.
Okay. So in the time that it takes Rigel to read that out, you are now within earshot of this woman, and she looks down upon you all as you approach. Good evening. What may we do for you?
Good evening, High Priestess.
And I say,
may we come inside?
It has been some time since we've seen you at the temple, but yes, you are welcome. Please, all of you.
Just give her the bloody note.
So we go inside. The doors close, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Once
when the doors close, Rigel casts a spell called Alarm on the door.
Okay.
And right before we... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, no, I was just going to explain what it does. It allows for an alarm on a door or window or an area. So he sets the alarm on the door, basically. So that way, if anything happens, he'll be alerted mentally.
Great.
And right before we enter, just as we are crossing the threshold, I just pause for a second and I look at the temple just as is. I just take a deep breath and I very, very unsurely make that first step. I just step in very uncomfortably.
Yes, and you all look at the inside of this temple, and it's quite beautiful in here. It's very spacious. It's large. It's open. You see from the inside the glass spires that you saw lit up from the outside there are these braziers that are glowing with this beautiful golden light, and the shape of the flames seems almost sculpted and unnatural, where it's just kind of like it's perfectly shaped coming up into these points in this soft flicker. Thank you. And you see there are separate areas. It's not like a traditional cathedral. There aren't like a bunch of pews, but there are little areas where their seats are set in these circles, and with a larger kind of altar thing at the far end. And the woman behind you shuts the doors, not in a encounter sort of way, no behind you guys. And these are really large stone doors. I know, for once.
For once.
They're about 12, 15 feet high, and they make no noise as they move. They're completely silent. And you just hear this kind of as air escapes the seam of these two pieces of stone coming together. It's really impressive dwarven make.
So I had said, give her the bloody note.
So once we're inside, the door is closed. Rigel begrudgingly hands the note over to the high priestess, and allows her to read it.
She nods.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. Just she nods as she takes it. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, she has the note. Now, you, fancy one, do as you promised.
I look at the high priestess. Can you do it?
I am not the high priestess. That would be Lightbearer Malara.
Oh, goodness.
Go and fetch her, can you? Will you?
We need this done immediately, please.
Please.
There is a time restraint, and everybody is in danger.
Roll a persuasion check, Seville.
And if you happen to have any more wine laying about,
You've had quite enough, I think.
bring that.
Don't listen to my friend.
Bring that
says-
too.
I shall.
Listen about everything else.
I'm
What'd you get?
fond of spiced vintages.
15.
And I just put my hand over his face, and I just say, if you would just excuse us, we are in need of meeting with the high priestess. You see, this one specifically needs help in healing. So if you would.
Help in
will be
healing. We would
obliged.
not have even let you in had Rigel not been with you. I will alert her and see if she is available. And she turns
you.
and she
Thank
strides
you.
off.
Otto,
And-
this really must be good, man. This really must be good, because we're way off course in what we're doing anyways. We shouldn't even be in Azley.
Well, it's not so much really good as it is really awfully terrible.
Oh?
Yeah. You'll find out in good time.
And I grab the hilt of my dagger. And I'm waiting.
Okay. And
Would anyone care for a song in the meantime?
No.
No,
Otto.
no one wants you to sing.
We
a
want the
song.
truth right now.
All right, fine. As soon as she gets back, you'll hear it. You have my word.
Oh.
I have a question.
yes.
How did you get inspired to write those notes? I'm very curious. Where did that come from?
Which ones? I write so many
You
notes.
just gave
The
us?
two latest ones. The one that we just gonna just put in his
You
face.
forget. I literally thought when you said notes, I thought you meant musical notes to a song because we were just talking about.
This
song
is no
music.
time for games, and I take my dagger and I just go. Whoosh, whoosh.
Oh.
And I was just say, we're not here for puns right now, Otto. We're here to figure out what you're about. And I hold it to his chin, right here.
And I kind of scoot away from the group because I'm embarrassed
Yeah.
about
And as you
all
do
of
that,
this violence in this holy temple.
Tabitha, because you move away, you see the door open off to your left, and you see the tall woman once again reemerge into the room, and she steps aside, and beside her is a much shorter dwarven woman, actually, in similar garments, and she seems to be older, and her kind of silver hair is braided beautifully in long, just braids that go all the way down to past her shoulders. And she stops for a moment and surveys you, and you feel the weight of this gaze. Somebody who just has so much presence, even at this smaller stature. And you all
And
kind
I
of...
absolutely look down again. For this one specifically, I'm even more so just kind of hiding my face.
And
looking down.
Eriseth's dagger being held to my chin, I just like have my hands out and I say, now would someone mind showing her the bloody note?
I get down off of Snack, who I've been riding this whole time, and I immediately
Nice.
give like
That's right.
a curtsy bow, not sure, and then I say, "You must be the High Priestess. I would like to apologize for my friends. These people I barely know. Sorry."
Bit tense, isn't it?
And she looks momentarily at the tall woman, kind of steels herself. All right. I need to know what's going on with all of this. What exactly does this note mean before we do anything for you? This is quite ominous. Rigel, are you mixed up with all of this?
Yes, he is, and let me tell you.
I'm sorry.
You have...
I'm speaking to
No,
Mr. Neville.
I'm sorry.
Second
I'm
hand
sorry.
over the
Actually,
hand over the
I'm
face.
speaking.
and I like...
Mr. Otto, I'm speaking.
I'm like, I need to go for a wee, and I start like stumbling off and like going for like his trousers near like some beautiful like statue or something.
I'll grab him by the collar and just bring him back while Rigel deals with this. Settle yourself.
Yeah, and I get pulled back, and I'm just like, tell her to do it.
My patience grows thin. Rigel, you
as
have a
does
moment
mine.
to express why you've dragged me from my sleep.
There is great trouble in Azley. These people, even that one, are aiding me in making sure that this danger does not come to pass.
Right.
And she looks down at the note again. Keep going.
Yeah, while he may be repugnant, I do believe he speaks true.
Roll a persuasion check, Rigel.
Could I don't know if this would justify it, but maybe even in my drunken haze, I kind of look at the woman around the same time, and there's like, despite the fact that he's clearly drunk, something that twitches in his view, and I'm just like, please do it. And I want to like let that be like a bardic inspiration to him, if possible.
Yeah, sure, I'll allow that. I like that.
All right. Well,
if you need it.
Well, let's see. DM, does
Yes.
a 22 help?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Just sending a message. Stand by.
Okay, well, you still have that for 10 minutes.
Yes.
Okay. So
Maybe
yeah.
we need to
Temple there.
convince Eriseth not to kill him.
So you say those words, Rigel, and she's looking down at the note, and she snaps it closed. Follow me. And she turns and she leads you across the hall, the opposite area from where she came out, and leads you over to a wood door that's got this beautiful kind of stone edging surrounding it. And it's smaller, and it comes to a point at the top, and it's only about 5.5 feet or so. So some of you have to kind of like bend down and kind of scooch through here. And she opens up the door and leads you inside. And there's a dark hallway and another door she opens up. And as she opens up the second door, this beautiful golden light hits you, and you see this round chamber, and it's made of this marble, except that the swirls and the coloration in this white marble are threads of gold, and the gold seems to glow on its own, and there's no other light source in here. But as you follow her inside, She shuts the door, which was wood on the outside. On the inside, it is the same stone. And she shuts it. This does make a sound. She turns to you. For the best of our knowledge, there's no entity that can peer into this room. And of course, the gods are gone.
Ah, yes. The gods are gone, yet some are prying their way back, aren't they?
Oh, that's a cryptic message.
My handle tight in my grip right now, watching Otto.
Me
Nuge
too.
is on his way back. Necromancers has infiltrated your city, the kingdom, and they're starting to rot everything from the inside. They've aligned with some high members of the Edgeguard against their will, I'm guessing, and they're trying to bring back the god for Nuge for some purpose of revenge. I don't know.
Well, that might be a bit for you to digest, so I'll let you sort of mull that over. And I hate to pile on, but there is more.
Oh.
You see, we, strange as our little collective may seem, have become the inheritors of bringing Fornuge, our evil god, to his defeat. I know it seems comical, really, and it is to a degree.
It is,
but
yes, not quite promising.
I'm afraid there is a bit of tragedy interlaced in all of this. You see, I look very shamefully at all of my companions, and I say, it was very clear we were outmatched. We stood no chance against them. They were more powerful than us. We were but fledglings taking out their lower ranks and their minions. No one was going to defeat them. Or so it seemed. And that's why I made the choice that I did.
Otto.
Hear me out, Seville.
Choice.
These words, even after 2 bottles of wine to myself, they don't come out easily. Please, let me tell you. I made a deal, you see, with no other apparent strength gathered anywhere near what it would need to be to challenge Fornuge and his followers. I sought for alliances elsewhere. I told you I would. I told all of you how ceaseless I would be. But I am afraid that I made a mistake. And I'll take out the book, the dark tome, and I kind of lay it. Is there any kind of a...
There's a pedestal in the middle of the room.
Okay, yeah, pedestal. I lay it on the pedestal. He lets out a sigh. Otto does. And I say, I wasn't sure for the longest time exactly who this otherworldly entity was, what they stood for, where they were. I just knew that they were powerful. I had discovered the power for myself, you saw full well, through the spells that I learned. And so I made this pact. And it is what has led us here, I'm afraid. I don't know if I am able to undo the agreement that I've made. But if there is any way to do it, then I should.
What agreement?
The agreement was that I would bring this being here
into this realm to defeat the
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
To defeat the necromancers, I say.
And I uncrumbled the page from his book, and I very slowly bring it in front of his eyes, and I say, "That's him."
Otto.
Was that him?
And I just, my head darts up and I say, I believe him. I'll help you, Otto. And I'm immediately, when he said that he made a deal, I'm immediately brought back to this moment in my childhood when I was in the swamps and I had made also a deal with an evil woman, or someone who turned out to be evil, this witch doctor. And that deal that I made ended up haunting me my whole life up until arriving in Anacroli. And so as soon as I hear how earnestly he has just described this deal and how he felt like he was between a rock and a hard place, I am just there with him.
Well, I go on even further, really. I look at all of you, and his face is very shameful. And he says, I realize now the mistake I made, but you must understand, I wouldn't have done it had I known how dark it would be, how vile.
And I put my hand on his shoulder, and my arm, actually the left arm, the scales kind of start to show. And I just say, Otto, the battle of two masters within the darkness that follows. Do not choose it, and for it to haunt you is one thing. But to make the choice, however brave, and thank you for sharing that. We see that you tried to protect us, and that really does redeem you in so many ways. Please don't keep secrets from us anymore, please, because we don't want to lose you, our friend. We don't.
I knew none of you would ever agree. I knew you would try to talk me out of it, but you see, there was no other way. I could see no other path to victory against these foul necromancers. You see, I just didn't want to fail at something again. It's all I've ever done. I wanted just this once, this one time, to succeed.
But you are good. You don't need anyone's validation.
No, I am not.
You don't. Yes, you are.
You are a fool. You're a fool to call me good. I've never been good. I've never been good to anyone, and I've never done any good thing. And if I have, I've counteracted it with all the bad that I've done. Trust me. You've only just met me in this world. You have no idea what I've done in the other. Because if you did, you would never have said that. You fool, you.
Perhaps people are not so, it's not so black and white. People are not so either good or evil. Perhaps there's a bit of gray area. Now, Rigel, you seem to be the most powerful one here in terms of spell casting. What can we do to undo this? Yes, Otto.
You know, Tabby, it's funny to hear you say that. I recall a wise man's words once said something very similar about the nature of good and evil. But if I could add one little addendum to that.
Sure.
There is evil. Terrible evil. Not just in Fornuge and his followers, but beyond. And I know because I've seen it firsthand. And I'm afraid that, at the risk of sounding terribly dramatic, I may not be, well, able to be saved. Perhaps my very soul is forfeit. But that doesn't mean that it's too late for us to stop these necromancers. And if we can find another way, then
perhaps.
This is why I asked Rigel. Everyone keeps interrupting my thoughts.
Yes, you think Rigel will have an answer.
He
You think
seems
that...
to have a lot of answers so far, okay?
Oh, well, that's lovely. Rigel, yes, hold on one moment. Rigel, how do we simultaneously defeat the necromancers of Fornuge, but also not get caught up in the terrible dilemma that I and the rest of my party have been jeopardized in with some otherworldly entity? Surely, yes, in this very moment you must have the answer. Go on. Thank you so much for asking, Tabby.
Well, first off, we know how to defeat the necromancers, and that's what I've been trying to pound in your head, Otto. There's gonna come a time when you've got to get out of your story, man, and get out of the nightmare that you put on yourself and have some self-respect and some trust in yourself. And if it's coming through your friends and you gotta listen, I told you, I promised I'd help you, and we'll deal with it as a group. But after this, we're going to deal with the necromancers as we know how, is get to those damn sites and
we can't
away.
win. We can't defeat them without him.
We don't.
Don't you understand, Seville, what this means? This means that all along my nightmares have been right. Don't you understand there's something far worse than the necromancers? That's what he's telling us.
Yes, but
what he's telling us is that he foolishly, so foolishly, gave in, basically, to the power of evil. You who gave so little credit to the power you have to do good. Join them. Join them because you can't defeat them. Don't you understand? The only reason I'm here is because I'm here to defeat them.
Well, maybe
the reason you're not dead right
it.
this moment is that you're back here right now telling me what you did. Or I guarantee you I would have slit your throat by now already. But I am glad to hear that you now understand evil and don't like it.
And I just squeeze Otto's arm and I say, Otto, I know there are a lot of emotions going on right now, and I look at her and said, I understand we're all confused and angry and we don't know what to do. But
I know what to do.
Well, let me tell you this. You did this with a desire to help your friends. And that, Otto, makes you a good man. Remember
yes,
that.
And how splendidly I've pulled it off.
No, he didn't do it.
Doesn't matter. We're here together and we'll solve it together. It does not matter.
You have all brought this collection of problems to me and my temple. Who is this entity? And she's walked over Otto and she's looking at the book, and her hand lights up with some energy, and you see that she moves it and you see the book opens. And she's not touching it, but she seems to be manipulating these pages as they, one by one, she's scanning.
And I just say, careful. Such entities' names themselves carry power. That is why I have asked that we meet here, don't you see? That is why that I've insisted we not even speak aloud certain things. But if you really want to know, then go on. Find out for yourself. And I gesture to the book, which I assume would have the answer as to who this is.
The name is definitely in there, and as she stops though, and she looks back at you. The departing took the gods from us. Our light from Kahaya has been gone. This room has not been used in many years. And now you say that there is a way that through this book there is connection somehow, and that Fornuge might be able to come back.
Yes.
Let me put this clearly. If that's possible, I need to know, because if we can bring back the evil gods, we can find our lost good ones.
Cicero remains. Faint, but she remains.
She has remained faint for a very long time, even before the departing.
Well, I don't know how much time we have here to get so philosophical, but I can't help but wonder why she and the others departed to begin with. Because you see, that was my concern.
I wasn't sure if any of these other gods would come back. And I point to the book, my book, and I say, but you see, I knew that this one would. And so, that's why I did what I did. How are we to know that if we go through this effort, that any of these gods will ever get around to coming back and answering our prayers again?
I see it. I see it in my dreams. I see it. I saw it when I went through the portal. Otto, with everything you've gone through, how could you possibly doubt now? You need to decide. Are you going to be doubting forever? Or is this the time you made your mistake and now you redeem yourself? This is it. I'll stand beside everybody in this room. To the death. But I must know what you want.
What have you done that you're not telling us?
Oh, I've told you the truth. I made a pact, and it was no fleeting matter, you see. A part of me resides in it, and listen, I don't care. I've thrown many things in my life away. If a piece of my soul is just but the next, then so be it. What I'm more interested in now is making sure that, and I kind of look over at Erisette and I say, perhaps just a chance at redemption. There is something with this skull. There appears to be some powerful magic tied into it that could be used to bring back a deity. It could have been used to bring back my patron.
How did you get away? Who took you? Where did you go? What happened?
He took me.
Does he have a skull?
No. I know just where it is.
Judd, can I use my fast hands to see if Otto has the skull on him?
I mean, you can, yeah, go for it.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I mean, and you know that this was a human skull. You know the size. I mean, you can look them down. But yeah, just do a quick, just give me a sleight of hand roll and just see how fast you can kind of dart in there.
16 plus 6.
Yeah, and I'd say in Otto's inebriated state, you've kind of patted him down before. He's like, wait, he's like seconds later.
Stop.
He's on Zoom delay. But yeah, you search him very quickly and you do not find the skull.
All right, well, he must have hidden it somewhere.
Yes, very good. That's correct. I have.
Otto, you said
right.
the skull can...
I need some answers, and I need them fast. Rigel, you come in here with this group and a great cat and a former failed pupil of mine, and you tell me these stories of horror, and yet you also veiled threads of hope that maybe there are ways to get back to the gods. I want to know what is going on, and I want to know now.
Well, you've pretty much just summarized it yourself, really.
As she says that, I go and I sidle up to Dagmara, and I hold her hand, and I squeeze it gently but firmly to give her as much strength as I can, because I imagine how difficult this must be for her.
And I just smile back at you and just look at the High Priestess, and I say, so you do remember me?
Of course I remember you. Hard to forget.
Well,
like a good hard to forget, or like a bad hard to forget?
Yes, the latter.
Which version of Unforgettable are we singing?
It's not Nat King Cole.
Right.
Well, don't worry, Dagmara. It's like you can't hardly do any worse than I am right now.
Oh, Otto, you don't know what I've done. You don't.
Dagmara, your failure was not in killing that man. Your failure was leaving and running.
How could I have stayed?
You would have
Priestess.
stayed. But you chose a path of a coward.
And then
I have no
as a
time to
path of a
talk about-
coward, and I
no.
pull down my sleeve and I say, "Do you think this is a path of a coward?"
I know
Do you
about
think
your
that this-
infliction.
And you did nothing. You saw me day after day, wondering what's wrong with me, and you did nothing. This is why I left.
How many times did you talk to me about this? This is not the time, anyway. We did much behind the scenes, and yet you failed to bring that to my attention then. You are a coward
And you
then, you are a
failed.
coward now. I no longer want to talk to you.
Is it
That
just
is why
me,
the
or
gods
is
never
it?
speak to you. That is why Cicero left. You are one of the reasons.
You caused the gods to leave?
Oh.
I think not.
Juicy.
My power does not extend to that.
Because you
Rigel,
don't care.
Yes.
for the last time, what
Well,
in the heavens is happening here?
you seem to be a little distracted, so I was letting you get along with that. But the skull of Tenathiel.
Did I say that right?
Tanathiel, yeah.
The skull of Tenathiel was going to be given to the Edgeguard and the Necros tonight. And we stopped that.
Yes. I made it a point to not let it fall into their hands.
I'm afraid my knowledge does not extend to this skull. What does it do?
It is the height of power. It was formed in the 3 Points War. And I don't want to go through the rest of the history that I went through before. So I'll just pretend that I've just given all of that information yet again.
Yes, you did.
And on top of all of that, could or could not be used to bring a god who's departed back into the fold.
Otto, you said something about the skull bringing back a deity. Any deity?
Well, that I don't know. But you see, I will not lie to you. I was tempted to take the skull, to use it to bring back him. And I point to the book, and I point to the picture of the deity, because there appeared to be no other way to stop these necromancers. But if you really think there is another way, that another god, or that another chance of any kind is there.
And I grab Seville's hand and I say,
God.
Seville,
What?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Cicero, could she be summoned?
I don't know. But we don't need a damn god.
But
How do
wait,
you know this thing is the god that you're talking to? How do you know this fiend or demon or lord or whatever you're talking to? How do you know it's a god? How do you know you can trust anything out of its mouth? And we have a way to defeat the necromancers. We take away what they're trying to do. We're ahead of them. We've already got stuff they don't have. They don't even know we have yet. We have maps. We know where to go. We can do this.
You say we're ahead. I'm afraid it's the opposite. We're steps behind. They've already made way to the capital city of Carthon. There are hundreds of them. They outnumber us severely, and we can't even unify the rest of the kingdom to view them as a threat. Here in Azley, aside from Rigel, almost no one here in power even knew that these necromancers had found their way into the city under their noses. We are not ahead of them, Seville. That is why I took to such drastic measures. Don't you see that?
No, I disagree. Never. Why would you ever think that evil this thing you're talking to wants its own power. It doesn't care about what happens after he defeats Farnooge, if that is even possible. Then
we can't have this lecture right now, although I agree with you completely, Sybil. Listen to me. We need to know, can this entity find you again right now, Otto?
Well, here I'm safe. But you must know that because of the pact that we've made, he is watching. His eyes are on me. His ears are listening. His words whisper in my ears. And I have tried to indulge him. I have tried to forge an alliance that I thought would help us, but I can see now I was wrong. And I want all of you to know that I'm sorry. I know those words, they do not come anywhere near the terrible mistakes that I've made that have affected you all, or the pain that I've caused you. And momentarily a Gith face flashes in his mind. Others have suffered. Wasn't a child. But I say,
poor 7-year-old.
Nevertheless, I am sorry.
Otto, do you know what?
Hold on. This is all touching, but
yes.
Where is this skull? We've had other objects that had interplanar connectivity. They are all inoperable. We have been researching every inch that we can get a hold of in this land to find something to reconnect. If this skull still powers and still works, we need it. We need it here. Rigel, we can hide it here. Bring it to us.
I just want to do a little cautionary insight check on her.
Her eyes are glowing red as you say that.
Yeah.
Bring it to me. No, go for it.
Well, let's see. That wasn't super great. 9.
She's a sweet old lady. I mean,
she's got biscuit.
Yeah. No, but you can see actually. You do. In all seriousness, you feel the passion, and there is a spark in her eye. There's an urgency. You feel that's what the only thing you get. There's an urgency there.
Okay, before we talk about moving this skull again, I need to understand, how did you get away from this dark entity, Otto?
Well, you see, I'm somewhat of a well-read chap, a learned fellow, and I knew that under the right circumstances, that a place where interplanar barriers were constructed, that I could speak more openly about this. But you see, I couldn't do that if I had planned on betraying a super powerful deity that I'd already made my patron out in the open. So that's why you're hearing it all now. You get that, right?
No, I understand that. I'm saying, how did you get away from him? Because
by being here. Don't you see?
No, I'm saying, how did you get back to us when he kidnapped you, so maybe we can go back to wherever you hid that skull and get it?
Oh, yes, I merely put one foot in front of the other. And yes, I know exactly where the skull is. I'd be happy to take you all to it at any moment's time. However, there's just one thing, which is that we need to have a plan. How we're going to use this skull, I want to know how and for what. And if I think that it does not stack the odds of defeating Farnooge and his followers in our favor, then perhaps you won't even be hearing where it is. But I think that we're all on the same team, and we all want the same thing. So let's agree here and now what we're going to do, and then I'll take you to the skull.
I give you my word, if you bring it back here, it can stay in this room. The ore that makes up the walls of this room is extremely rare. There are very few places like this in all of Annaquilly.
You're just a sweet old lady who I trust a lot. And I mean quite a lot. So, you're good. Everyone else good?
I run an inside check on Otto right now.
What exactly are you? You just looking for general deception or something in particular?
I'm trying to figure out if this is a trick, a really elaborate trick.
Okay, all right.
Or if he's really had a change of heart. Okay. So I think is it going to be my wisdom modifier?
No, just insight. Just.
It's a straight up 11.
I mean, Otto, you can correct me
Well,
if...
I made a roll. I don't know if the roll is necessary, but I got a lot higher than that.
Well, it depends. I mean, are you being deceptive?
It wouldn't matter. I rolled higher, so she wouldn't know either way, right?
That's true. I mean, Ariset, you look at Otto, and I mean, it seems that he is being earnest in everything that he is saying.
Okay, so I believe him, but not very much.
You believe him, but there's just that nagging feeling like maybe there's just more to him. He's just a hard person to read.
I know. He's such an enigma.
So, Otto, I just would love to say this to you so that you can soak this in. This really isn't our problem. If this God Lord demon has made a deal with you, then this was what people who are not your friends would say is, so be sacrificed. Give us the skull and let this patron demon just take you and take your soul. That's what people who are not your friends would say. However, and I want you to hear this, we have not known each other for very long, but we've been through the thick of it already. And so if we're deciding what to do with the necromancers and forming alliances here, let's do something better and make an alliance of friendship so that we stop hiding things from one another, that we can trust one another, and we can form a real party here and now, where we have each other's backs, thick and thin. So if this is going to work, it must start at friendship. And I'll go first. I offer that to you, Dagmara, and to you, Tabby, and to you, dear Ariset, and to you, Otto, whom I promised when I looked into your eyes and you asked for help that I would help you. And that help is coming, man. You don't stand alone. I may punch you in the gut for this shit, but I'm here for you. That's my pledge.
You're not alone, Otto. We do this together. You got no choice.
Now, a plan. Do we have you, dear lady? Are you going to be able to hold this city, and Rigel, hold this city? Find out, how are you going to get through the edge and these necromancers? This treaty they signed was not signed by the king or the queen. They must know what's going on, but of course we don't have the magical means to get a communication there, but you guys do.
I just want to... Sorry, go ahead, Tabby.
I was just going to say, also for the record, Rigel, I've asked you earlier and you never really had a chance to respond, but I would love to know what your game plan would be as long as this conflict is concerned. So we could just, maybe give me that before we depart.
Well, as I said previously, the skull must not be given to the Edgeguard because they will give it to the necromancers.
Okay, yeah, that checks out.
Right.
So the plan was to keep it away from them. And here, in this room, it can be kept away from them.
Yes, well, of course. But you see, I just want to make it clear to all of you. I appreciate what you said, Seville, and you're right. I will need the help of all of you, which I have not earned and I do not deserve. But if I hope to survive this terrible mistake I've made, I will need it. If I take it to the skull and bring it back here, he will know that something has gone wrong. There will be a consequence. There will be a punishment. Now, as I said, I would be happy to suffer that myself.
But if all of you mean to help me, then I'm afraid that you must be aware of what you're agreeing to. You may need to stand by me in the face of facing this terrible power.
So you might need to play his game, is what you say. To create a deception that you're still very loyal to him.
Deceive a god?
Well,
Is he
does
a
he know
god?
everything you're thinking? Does he know the feelings of your heart at every moment?
I don't know.
What is this god's name?
I walk over to the tome and I hold up a picture. And in our 50th episode of the Role Players, present it out to you, and it shows the appearance of a horned figured man, a humanoid looking individual, long hair, and I say, they call him Belial. You see, he once ruled over one of the hells itself. The hell they call Phlegathos.
And I just get goosebumps all over.
But with such great power, it affects many people differently. Some crave more. Belial fell into apathy. His daughter Fianna began to rule over this plane. And as I read this story, I couldn't help but think, what an interesting parallel for our paths to cross. Here is this god who I have a connection to. This god who has fallen to laziness. And then here we are facing a power that we can't conceivably beat on our own. It was like we were meant to cross paths, you see. The poetry of it. I know how foolish I've been. But this deity is powerful, very powerful. And I am willing to stand against him now, in full awareness of the errors I've made, but you're right, Seville. I can't do it alone.
This deity is powerful, and I don't think mere mortals like us can defeat him. And Seville, I know you say that we do not need another goddess, but what makes more sense than something that is a complete opposite of what Belial is, to counteract him with our force on her side?
I would love for nothing more than Chaterelle to come out and stand with
Chaterelle, all
us,
this
stand against this.
Talk of
I
Chaterelle.
don't know how that's going to happen. I think we have a plan. What we can do, and now what Rigel and the lady.
Let me tell you what I can offer.
Yes.
We have the top scholars in the kingdom that I trust implicitly to study this skull thing, and if we can use it to figure out how to bring back the gods that looked over and took care of us and granted us their beauty and their healing and their love, we can use that. I can hide it from the kingdom. From long-standing treaty, they don't have any right to step on this ground. Nor your Edgeguard or the Valiere. No one is allowed on this ground if we do not want them to be. And there are secrets in this temple and others that even the most educated do not know. We can hide it. If you can get it.
High Priestess, will there be any hope for me?
You've shown, even at this late hour, great courage. And Dagmara, she looks at you on that word. And coming forth and telling us, I always believe there's hope for everyone. And she kind of gives you a grudging look also again, Dagmara, for those that ask.
In that case, if you were to help us do this, if you were to help us bring a deity that would help save this entire realm, and I kind of have to swallow my pride a little bit, my frustrations and pains and disappointments, and then I will devote myself to the temple again, under your supervision, under your hand.
I don't want your devotion out of payment. You're speaking of Cicero in my presence. You must follow where your heart leads you, whatever that may be.
It leads me to Cicero, and if you help us summon her, then I will devote myself to the temple, which will consequently be hers.
Well, best we go retrieve the skull then.
Yes, but before we do that, I do think we should get some ground rules. I would say that perhaps someone should always be guarding this room while the skull is in here.
Yes,
Maybe
we have...
even 2 people in case one person would want to steal it.
Well, since we seem to be airing all of our secrets this evening, the temple has its own force. And they're quite powerful and they're quite capable. And they're dedicated to stopping evil and protecting the good. They will watch over it day and night, and it will be safe.
You know, the best form of security is no one even knows it's here. So if you'll follow me.
All right, and the other thing, Otto, don't you think we might want to leave that book behind as well?
And I kind of I have like a little Bilbo moment with the ring, like where the book is like on the pedestal, and I'm like,
Bilbo, it's still in your pocket.
Yes, it's probably for the best, although it would be helpful to have. And I'm just like, right, I will leave it.
I think that is...
Said it. 1 foot in front of the other.
Is wise. If I'm right in my thinking, there's some connection of this book to that realm, and perhaps, I don't know where this book comes from originally. I will want that information at some point.
Perhaps after I've sobered up come 3 days' time.
Yes, perhaps. I would not. I could accompany, or my forces could accompany you, but I don't want to draw any...
too much attention.
Exactly. You must get the skull, move quickly, bring it back here. I will tell you of another way to enter the temple that you will not be seen. Rigel, I doubt even you know its path.
Well, before we move, I still haven't gotten our answer, or my answer. I pledge myself to all of you to make a pact, and I have not heard it back, so I'm not leaving here until I do.
I'll pledge it. I pledge it.
Let's go.
Is this kind of a hand in the circle moment?
Yeah.
Hand, I think it is. I think it's like a hand in the circle.
Hand in the circle.
And like Otto's hand is like involuntarily like trembling a little bit. And he just says, "We're together. I won't lose sight of that anymore."
Together.
Forever.
Right.
Okay, made it creepy at the end a little bit.
It's gonna be fun.
All right, so to recap, there is some evil group bringing back Fornuge. You've done a deal with another evil god that you're also bringing back.
Yes, but not anymore because I realized that was a terrible idea.
Right. Hold on. I'm just trying to tally up our problems here. The Edgeguard and the kingdom itself might be corrupted and infiltrated. Well,
Most likely.
Rigel,
It almost certainly is. Yeah.
quite a load of shit you brought to my door today. I think you've all got a bit of work to do. So
hopefully we put a bow on it.
Be off.
Yes.
Now.
Right.
And I start leading them to the alleyway where the barrel is.
Excellent. And as we watch as the party exits the temple, returning to the streets, and you all check cautiously as you emerge, we see you scutter off into the darkness. And that's where we're going to leave it tonight, everyone.
All right.
Whoa, I like this. I like
Wow,
this.
what a moment.
Wow. So Belial has been revealed.
Wow. You know, for
That is-
50 episodes, I have had this secret, and it feels good to have let it out, both as a player and also
Wow.
Otto himself. I think he has tasted sweet relief, the likes of which he has not in a long time.
That was such a great moment for Otto. Amazing character.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great job, everyone. Great role playing. Super fun. And thank you, of course, to all of you out there. Thank you for the follows and the subscriptions and the bit cheers and all of that. It means the world to us. Thank you for letting us make your Mondays a hell of a lot better. Remember to show up next week for our giveaway of the Rime of the Frost Maiden on D&D Beyond digital assets, or the book if you prefer that. And let's get us to that 600, and we'll share the happiness. Until then, everybody have a wonderful week. Be very safe, and we love you. And we'll see you next time.
Nothing like making a deal.
Bye,
with the
everybody.
devil.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Have a great week.